Quickly talk about tails, Heli tails that is. You just got to be real fussy with how the tail actually operates. What I do, this one here has been getting a bit of wag, doing it for a customer, and what I found was the actual slider was binding just on the bottom. I'll just show you here. It was just binding about there, and when you actually grab the ball and tried to move it up and down like that, it was binding up. So what I did is I stripped it all the way down, and I found these, the actual screws that go through the blade grip itself, they were binding up. I've actually changed them now. I don't know what it was. As soon as I undid those, it was free, but this is how it should be. When you actually pick the tail up like that with nothing connected, everything's together. I just don't have the fulcrum lever on because I was trying to diagnose it. So if you pick it up and pull it all the way up to the top, like so, it should drop under its own weight. Like so, all the way up and drop. And that is how you know that your governor's not going to be, your gyro is not going to be fighting this tail. So then so basically every part you put on, you try and do that to it, make sure it's free. And if you get one it's not free, then you've hit the jackpot and you've found the problem component. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually loosen these off 2 turns, but I'm not going to put Loctite or thread lock from the threaded side. I'm actually going to drop it down the hole and then screw the thread in, and that will bind it up. That way you're not going to bind it up in the actual rotating components. Okay, so they're the only 2 parts I've had off, this one here and this one here. So now I'm happy with that. I'm going to bolt the fulcrum lever on for the slider, and I'm going to do exactly the same thing. It should fall under its own weight like that. Okay, just a bit of a tip, guys. I've got my aligned slider on this unit here, and now you watch, I'll drop it. See, it just falls down under its own weight beautifully, and that's exactly what it should do. The gyro should not be fighting any resistance at all in the drive train, gear train linkages at all. Not one. See, it's just falling down under its own weight. That's perfect, beautiful. You don't want it binding at all, because as soon as it starts fighting it, that's when you're going to start getting rattles, because it's sticking in. I can't do it. So now I'm going to put my ball joint on, and I'm just going to check the clearances in here. Oh yeah, that's nice and tight in there. It's pretty good. Really good. I might just put an aligned ball joint on that just to take any play out of it. Okay, so that's how your tail should behave, like that. Alright. And if it's not, you need to basically, start from the beginning. Take this lever here off, this one. Take that off first, and then see if it drops down under its own weight without that lever on, and work your way back until you get it to fall, and then start figuring out which screw is too tight or too loose or whatever. So, but you do have to Loctite them. But what I do is I screw them in about 2 turns, and then I put the thread lock down into the tie. I usually dip it like this here. I'll dip it on I've got an old bent fly bar I've got here, and I dip it and I get a big blob of it, and then I drop it into the hole that thread is, screw it up and then wipe the excess off and just let it go off. But I'm sure you guys already know all that stuff, so but anyway, but that's how the tail should behave, and that should actually really perform well. Okay guys, thanks for watching. I'm going to change that ball joint on the fulcrum lever and be done with it. I've put my ball joint on, and now it's actually binding with the ball joint on, and that tells me one thing. I'll put that ball joint and the ball on. So what I need to do now, because I know that once I take that ball joint off it's nice and free, and that's not free enough, it's actually sticking, and that means that ball joint needs to be reamed. So I'm going to pop that off and I'll ream it up and then I'll put it back on.